Page 6 now. Chaos in the Middle East. In Yemen, the civil war there is escalating as Saudi Arabia continues to pound Iranian-backed Shiite rebels. Also, a joint Arab intervention military force has now been created, and that is setting up a proxy war in Yemen between Sunni and Shia, Saudi Arabia and Iran. Meantime, in Syria, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad says U.S.-led airstrikes against the Islamic State are not working.
ISIS has expanded since the beginning of the strikes, not like some American wants to sugarcoat the situation as to say that it's getting better. ISIS has been defeated and so on. Actually, no. You have more recruits. Some estimates that they have 1,000 recruits every month in Syria and Iraq. They are expanding in Libya, and many other Al-Qaeda affiliate organizations have announced their allegiance to ISIS.
Of course, Team Obama wants Assad out at any cost, but like him or not, Assad is a stabilizing force in the region. Meantime, out of South America, a shocking revelation involving Drug Enforcement Administration agents and drug cartels. Joining me now, author, speaker, strategic consultant, and Daily Ledger contributor T.J. O'Hara. T.J., aren't the DEA agents supposed to be tracking the drug cartels and not going to the parties that they set up?
Well, you know, I think they're going to rename them the Degenerate Entertainment Agency. So, you know, maybe this is going to be par for the course going forward. But the judicial branch's IG recently released a report saying that 10 DEA agents, including a regional director, had been participating in sex parties, basically where prostitutes were provided by the drug cartels, and sometimes on government property. So you have this little bit of a break in continuity, maybe something that might be considered a conflict of interest by most of us. And yet what's fascinating is the DEA comes back and argues with the Department of Justice and claims that there are tolerance zones because some of this is just part of the local culture. Now, when these people left these parties, they were also given money. They were given extraordinary weapons and lovely parting gifts, I guess you would say. So it's a little bit of an irony that we have DEA trying to curb drug cartels but accepting these types of benefits. You know, the only thing I can think is some of these agents were aspiring to greater heights and trying to become Secret Service agents.
Oh, my. You wouldn't think you would have to tell these guys, hey, don't fornicate and associate with the drug cartels. But apparently we need rules saying exactly that. And apparently we need rules and laws in some cases that I call really laws. Like, do we need a law telling me that I shouldn't take a screwdriver and stick it into a wall socket? What's going on here?
Well, last week we had H.R. 901, which was a House bill that was passed to tell the Office of Management and Budgets to create guidelines that ban viewing pornography on government computers during work. Apparently, this is a problem, at least at the EPA. Back in May, there was an individual who was caught spending anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, work hours a day, viewing pornography. To make it more embarrassing, the person has stored 7,000 images on the agency server. Now, that's not really a problem because they can always call Hillary Clinton. She'll tell them how to wipe that clean. But, you know, the reality is this is the group, the EPA, that's trying to clean the environment. They can't even clean up the EPA. The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee actually asked the head of the EPA why she didn't just terminate this person. Because this person, by the way, is on paid administrative leave as we speak. And she came back and said, well, I need help. I need legislative help. So, you know, I think what we may want to do is we have an agency here who wants to be able to tell you and I when we can grill in our own backyard, but they aren't able to determine when they should punish somebody for wasting most of their day viewing porn on TV or on their computer. So maybe what we ought to do is just get a new head of the EPA.
One can only imagine what this person who's on administrative leave is doing in his or her spare time right now. Don't even want to think about it. Now, the Obama administration apparently has so much time on its hands that it can attack a football team over its name. I mean, it's just amazing to me.
Well, sure. You know, we have the slowest economic recovery in history. We have racial tensions being inflamed, and we have the Middle East disintegrating before our very eyes. But the Obama administration was able to set its priorities correct and pursue the Washington Redskin name the other day in a federal court. Now, the whole premise is that this isn't protected speech. This is commercial speech, and that trademark law doesn't allow you to disparage others. But interestingly enough, the ACLU filed a brief on behalf of the NFL team saying you're taking away property without compensation. And even though this may be vile speech to some, it's protected under the First Amendment. So you've got this interesting dichotomy. Now we're in March Madness. Think of what we've got. We've got evangelicals being assaulted because we have the Duke Blue Devils playing a team called the Michigan Spartans, which has to be an insult to Greek heritage and the current Greek economy. And then on the other side, animal activists must be just going crazy because you've got Wildcats playing Badgers. You know, at the end of the day, I'm less concerned about the name of a pro football team than I am about this JV team that's wreaking havoc over in the Middle East.
I would agree. But also, don't forget about the Fighting Irish. I mean, now, come on. Now,
there you go.
That insinuates all Irish fight, and we all know that only 99% fight. Hillary Clinton, apparently the vast right-wing conspiracy is being taken to a whole new level?
Well, there's a group called HRC Super Volunteers who have threatened the media and said, we're going to be watching for sexist terms that are used to try and prevent Hillary from becoming president. Now, they don't go on to say that they're going to use the same watchguard effect for, you know, if Carly Fiorina gets into the race, for example. What they've done is they've created 13 terms and banned them. And I know you don't have a Chris Matthews secret decoder ring, so I'm going to share these terms because these are really specific to Hillary.
Go ahead.
You've got ambitious, calculating, disingenuous, entitled, inevitable, insincere, overconfident, out of touch, polarizing, represents the past, secretive, tone deaf, and will do anything to win as being a double standard. Now, with the exception of inevitable and represents the past, the latter of which is really ageist rather than sexist, you could almost use these same terms to describe anybody running for president of the United States. You know who's most upset about this? Bill Clinton. And you know why?
Why?
He was overheard telling his friends, you know, I just don't know how I'm going to describe Hillary going forward if I can't use any of these terms. So it's a problem. And if we could only get this group to maybe ban pronouns and article adjectives and let's say words like and, if, but, other types of phrases like that, maybe we wouldn't hear anything about Hillary Clinton, and that wouldn't be all bad.
Well, it's inevitable that she is out of touch and polarizing. I would agree with all of those. TJ, out of time. Thanks.